Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is the part 2 of the first video I made. This is the hands-on part. The first video was explanatory on what we are going to carry out, and this is the part 2. If you have not watched my first video, please watch it so you can understand what is happening here. These are the tasks that I'm going to carry out. I've explained all the files that we need. This is a repository in my GitHub which you can clone. So these are all the files that we need to carry out these tasks. This task is to create EC2 instance. Is to create a number of EC2 instance. This is where we specify the number of EC2 instance. It also creates a backend. A backend is an S3 bucket and a dynamodb. And then all these files I've explained. This is a load balancer. This is a bash script, and this is the output. How to send this output describes how to send a file, how to create a file and then store values into the file, and also how to send values to the terminal. That's standout result. And then basically these are all files that I've explained before. So in this part of the video, I'm going to open my terminal because that's how we are going to be working. So I'm going to be using my VS Code terminal. I won't use the integrated Windows terminal. I'm going to use VS Code terminal, and then I'm going to I won't open it this way. It's preferable to open it this way. You click a file. Let me just use this as an example, and then you right click, and then you choose open integrated terminal. So it's going to open part of the screen as the terminal. Then you wait for it. It's loading. Okay, but this is the PowerShell terminal that opens automatically. So you have to come here and select Ubuntu subsystem. I made a video on how to install this Ubuntu and how to integrate it with your VS Code. So you choose the Ubuntu subsystem because it's a Windows system I'm using, so you need a Linux shell to run this. So this is why I'm using this. So I'm going to click this, and it's going to take me to the Ubuntu subsystem where I can run Linux commands. So the first thing you need to install on your Ubuntu subsystem to run Terraform is the AWS CLI. So I'm going to type AWS CLI. If you have it, it's going to tell you that it's already installed. If you don't have it, it's going to tell you how to install it. So I have it. Let's see what's going to respond. Okay, so it's already installed. So it gave me commands. It displayed commands, so it displays how to use the AWS CLI. So if you have it installed, this is what you expect as the output. But if you don't have it installed, it's going to say cannot be found. Please use sudo apt install AWS CLI. It's a very simple process to install it. So once you have this installed, you're going to run Terraform -v to confirm if your Terraform is installed. If you don't have Terraform installed, it's very easy. Just Google how to install Terraform. You see the steps. So I'm just going to put how to install Terraform on Ubuntu. So you just pick any of this. You can pick this or you can pick this, and then you follow the steps to install it on your Ubuntu subsystem. You just put the terminal commands step by step, and then your Terraform is installed. So I already have Terraform installed. So I'm just checking it. Okay, so you can see here Terraform, but this is the version that is installed. So I'm good to go. Let's check my requirements again. So I have AWS, I have basic knowledge of Ansible, and I have Terraform installed. I also have Git installed. And then my GitHub account, I have a GitHub account. That's where I pulled this folder from. So you too, you need to create a GitHub account where you can pull this, where you can push your folder when you finish this project to store your codes. And then I have VS Code editor, and I have this Windows subsystem. I think we are good to go. So the first thing to run when you're trying to carry out, let me clear my screen. So the first thing to run is to run Terraform initialize. It's called init, not but the full is initialize. So Terraform init, and then it's going to initialize backend. So as you can see, these files, there's no dot any file. When this finish initializing, extra files will be created here. You see it will appear mostly above this Ansible CFG. You see a .terraform dash .terraform, a lot of hidden files. You will not, they are not visible in your normal file explorer, but you can see them right here, just like the git ignore folder. So it's going to appear here like hidden files. So I'm going to wait a while, let the backend initialize. So the backend is going to initialize in my local directory, that's in this folder on my laptop, which is not right. It's not supposed to be so. But I'm going to do that first. In the first trial is going to be on my backend, and then it's going to be on my local system, and then I'm going to initialize it again with my backend. So it's going to move all the files here to my backend, not these particular files. The files that will be created is going to move them to my backend. So let's wait. It's going to take a while. Let me wait for it to finish. You have to wait for it, don't interrupt it. It's downloading some files that you can't see right now, but with a good internet speed, this should not take time. Okay, it has come up here. Terraform. I didn't put this folder here. This folder was not here. It's Terraform that just dropped this folder right now. So nothing concern me with this folder actually. My own is just to work with these particular files that are on my GitHub repository. But these files are sensitive files. They contain sensitive information, which makes them not supposed to be exposed. It's not supposed to be on my desktop, and it's not supposed to be on my GitHub. So that is why we are using a backend. Okay, it has finished initializing. So the next thing I'm going to do is Terraform. Is Terraform fmt. So this Terraform fmt command, I hope you can see my screen. This is the Terraform fmt. So this fmt command is format, so it just makes your code look neater. Let me show you my variable.tf. okay, you can see how this code is scattered. So after running Terraform fmt, it's going to look different. You can see is now aligned. Immediately the Terraform fmt finished running, my code became neater and aligned. So if you have any other scattered code anywhere around these files, it's going to be arranged for you just by running Terraform fmt. So the next command that I'm going to use is Terraform plan. So Terraform plan tells me what is going to be set up when I run my Terraform. It doesn't set it up, it just tells me, okay, if you use this file, these are the configurations to expect. These are the things I'll be creating for you. So I'm going to run Terraform plan. So I'm going to, so you can see what will be created with these files. It's going to be a lot. So let me increase my terminal view. It's going to be a lot. So you can see these dot files, these hidden files are becoming much. This is .terraform tf state, this is .terraform log state, this is .terraform. So these three folders are not supposed to be here. Don't worry about these yellow warnings. Yellow warnings are not really errors. They are just it's just a warning that you could write this code better. Like, this code is not written in the best way possible, but it will work. That's this yellow warning. Only red warning, red signs, like red color, that you should be worried about. So my plan says it's going to create 14, it's going to add 14, it's going to change 0, it's going to destroy 0. This is my output. This is one of my output. This is the AWS ELB that is supposed to be my output. It doesn't know my output, it doesn't know the DNS yet, because I have not constructed anything. That's why I said known after apply. All this known after apply just means it doesn't know it yet until I run Terraform apply. But it's just giving you a breakdown of things that will be created. Some things will not be known until it has been created, like public IP, like load balancer DNS, and many things like, okay, like this ID now will not be known. I knew it's going to be much. It's a lot. You can go through it just to know what you're creating. I'm going to create an S3 bucket where my backend will be stored. I'm going to create a route 53, just like I explained in my previous video. Internet gateway, and my instance, AWS instance, that's the EC2. and then this is another EC2 that's going to be created. Okay, and this is another EC2. I think I choose 3 EC2s. Let's go back to our code. Okay, it says 2 here, so let me save it. I just want 2 instances, so not 3. So you can go through all the things that will be created. So let me do apply, but before I run apply, I'm going to open my AWS console to show you that I have nothing running there. So after the apply, we can notice the difference. So I just want to go to sign into my AWS console. That's manually, if you want to, just to confirm that I have nothing running. Okay, so let me sign in as the root user. Let me sign in. So when I sign in, you're going to see that I have nothing running. But before I sign in, you have to specify some environment variables for AWS. So when you have your AWS, this AWS CLI installed, after you have AWS CLI installed, you still need to configure it. So after installing it, you run AWS configure. There are just 2 commands: AWS CLI, you install, then AWS configure, then you're good to go. AWS configure. So now this command is going to prompt you for some particular information. It's going to prompt you for your AWS access key. So this access key is gotten when you create an IAM user, which is necessary, which is compulsory. To use AWS CLI, you need to create an IAM user on your AWS, and you need to get the credentials of that IAM user and put them into your CLI configuration. So when I get my access key from creating my IAM user, I put it here, and then I get my secret key and I put it here, and then my default region, that's the region where I want to be creating all this infrastructure, is US EC2, and then this one is going to be none. So default output format, I'm not going to put anything there, I'm just going to skip it by clicking enter. Okay, so these are all the things you need. If you want to know how to create an AWS IAM user, just put it down in the comment section. I'll create a video on how to create an AWS IAM user, and your IAM user needs to have admin privileges. So it needs to have admin privileges so it can run almost any command you want to run. I already have my IAM user, that's why I have this information. Now let's go back to my console. So this is my default region, Ohio. I'm using Ohio as my default region. These are my recently visited services that I've used on AWS. Let's go to EC2 so I can show you that my EC2 is so to know your default region, you just click here, you click this part of your console. It's written here US EC2. So this is how I got. If you want to use Virginia, you use US EC1. You just pick all this. This is how to know your default region. So in my default region US EC2, I have nothing, no instance running. I have no instance. These are instances that's both off and running 0. Then this one is just running 0. Security group 2. Mostly everything here is 0, and I have 1 key pair. Now this key pair is important. You need to have created this key pair before starting this project. Create a key pair, name it anything you want. Me, I named it key 10, and I have it downloaded on my system. Both Ansible and Terraform need you to specify the key pair that you're using. So for Terraform, this is where I specified the key pair. Key name. This key name is referring to the key pair. So key name is equals to var.key. So now let's go to variables. Now this is where so this is where I specified it. Key is equals to key 10, and that's because my key name is key 10. So that's why it's like this. And then for my Ansible, I also specified it for my Ansible script. So my Ansible It's in my output. So my Ansible will know where my key is located, so it is here. So my key is located in my home directory and it's called key10.pem. So this is how to run an Ansible script and how to specify the key to use. If not, your Ansible script will run into error. So we are good to go. Once you have this key created on your this is the only thing you will need to create on your terminal and the IAM user. Once you have the key and you have an IAM user, you go to your terminal and you run everything. So the next command after AWS configure and after putting in our values, the next thing to run is Terraform apply. So if I run Terraform apply, it's going to ask me, do you really want to carry out this action? So I don't want it to ask me that, do you really, because obviously I really want to carry out the action. So I'm going to add auto approve. I'm going to add auto approve. So with this auto approve, once I click enter, it's not going to ask me any prompt. So let's watch. Okay, I think I put a space here. Okay, so to confirm, okay, it's telling me, it's displaying all the things that it's going to do. It's saying, okay, these are the resources I'm going to create. Okay, now it's creating them. It's supposed to have asked me, do you want to create? But because of that command I used, it went straight ahead to create them. So it's creating. So while it's creating, let me show you what to expect as output. To show that this has run successfully, it needs to give us a load balancer DNS to visit to see our landing page. Because I explained in the previous video that we are creating a landing page with multiple EC2 instances. So I'm creating like 3 instances and all of them have the same landing page, and then the load balancer helps us to balance traffic between the 3 instances. So that's what to expect. I'm expecting a load balancer. Okay, so it's playing my Ansible script. So it will play like 3 times for the 3 instances. As long as we don't get an error, then we are going to see, okay, this is the public IP. And then if you notice, this file was not here. The files here are increasing, because when we started, our files were like 9 and now I think they are more than 9. So this file is the one, this is one of the files that I just created now, and it's created with this code. It's created with here where I specified, it's created from this command where I specified host inventory. So I'm telling it that it should, this resource block is to create this particular file, and then from this file it should execute my Ansible script. So that's what it's doing. I'm trying to open this up so you can see what's going on. So it's running this command, and the good part about Ansible and Terraform, it displays what's going on, so you're not left in the dark. So when any error occurs, you know exactly the step that failed. So don't be scared. You might run it for the first time, you might come across some errors. I've run this more than like, I've run this a lot of times, so maybe that's why I won't get an error. So if you fail the first time, don't be scared. Just check what the error is saying, fix it, and then run again. Okay, so our code has finished running, and you can see there's a DNS down here. So I'm just going to copy this to confirm that our installation was successful. I will put it on a browser to visit it, and then before I do that, let me show you my EC2's instances. There should be instances running here. Okay, so I have this and I have this running. They were not here before, so now they are here. So it means my Terraform created them. Let's see how many. Okay, so this is my landing page. I created this landing page. I explained it in my previous video, in the part 1 of this video, that my landing page is created and it's on my GitHub. You can download it from my GitHub and play around with it. It's a PHP landing page, but I converted it to AWS. So what a load balancer does is that it switches between instances. So now this IP says IP is 17. Just look at these numbers, and when I refresh, it changes. Now it has changed. That means that means I'm visiting a new instance. So if I click this again, it goes back, right? Because I just have two instances, so it's switching between the instance. So it helps distribute traffic. If a lot of people are visiting a particular website, it reduces the traffic on a single EC2. That's what a load balancer does. And now this load balancer DNS, I can put this into my route 53, which I created with my Terraform. So when I visit route 53, what's going on? When I visit route 53, I should have a hosted zone already existing there. Okay, so you can see my route 53, there's now a hosted zone. Remember, I showed you there was no hosted zone in the previous video, but after running Terraform, there's now a hosted zone. Now in this hosted zone, I made a video on how to configure hosted zone on my channel, so just check it out, and then you follow the video, edit your hosted zone, and impute your custom domain. So when you visit this link, it's not going to show these long random numbers. It's now going to show roland.com or anybodyyounknow.com, or any custom domain you have will now be displaying this exact page. Okay, so now the next thing to do, let's see our list. So we have created a security group, we've created a VPC, we've created EC2, we've used Ansible to install. That's what we just did. We used Ansible to install that landing page on our servers. And then, okay, using bash script. Okay, I explained how to use bash script in my previous video. So this is how to use a bash script. So if I want to use a bash script instead of an Ansible script, you use the user data. So when you click user data, when you're using this user data command, you just specify the bash script that you want to use, just the way I did it. File jenkinsserver.sh. I have jenkinsserver.sh here. So that's how to use a bash script to run installation on your server. And then using user data, okay, that's what I just explained. Create load balancer, which we did and which is working perfectly. Create hosted zone, which we have created, and then create S3 bucket. Okay, now our S3 bucket has been created, but it's not storing our state file yet. Our S3 bucket and dynamodb has been created. Let's confirm that on the console. So let me open S3 bucket to show you that it actually has been created, just that it's not yet, let's say, activated. It's not yet functioning. So to make it function, I'm going to go to provider. So this block that is commented out, I'm going to uncomment it. So now this is like activating the backend to start working, to start functioning. So now that it's working, I'm going to now run Terraform plan. So now it's using the statelock and all those files, all these dot files. It's using it to confirm what has been created and what is yet to be created. That's why these files are important. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to let it know that I now have a backend, that it should use the backend. So I think it's not recognizing my backend. Where is my provider? I've uncommented this. Anytime you uncomment a block of code, you should save it so that VS Code can recognize that it has been changed. So you just use Ctrl S. So that's what I've been clicking since. Anytime I make a change, I use Ctrl S. So once I save it, VS Code recognizes that a change has been made. So I think it did not recognize the change. So let me run it again. I want it to recognize the change. Okay, yeah, it has recognized it now. So it's saying, let's read it. It says backend initialization required. Please run Terraform init. So I wanted it to recognize that, okay, now I have a backend. So now let me run Terraform init just the way it required. Terraform init. So now it's going to recognize the backend and it's going to ask me, okay, now you have a backend, now you have a bucket I can store files in, and you have a a dynamodb I can store files in. Should I go ahead to store it there? What do you want me to do? That's okay. This is it. Acquiring statelock, blah blah blah. Do you want to copy existing state to the new backend? So all these files is asking me, do you want to take all this to the cloud? And that's the best way to run Terraform, by saving all these files in your cloud storage. At least it's very safe there, no one is going to tamper with it, and you can keep running Terraform script over and over again using the same block of code, just by destroying one and creating more, destroying, creating, and then anything that put to your local system doesn't affect you or affect anyone. So what I'm going to choose, I'm going to say no, because this is just for practical. I don't have time to push all this to the cloud and then go to cloud to bring them down, so I'm going to say no. So it's going to create empty cloud infrastructure storage. It's going to create brand new backend. Like the backend is going to be empty. It's going to start using my S3 bucket from henceforth, but it's going to start afresh. So that's why I chose no. Anytime you run your Terraform script and you want to confirm if that infrastructure actually exists, because it actually does, no need to doubt Terraform. But if you want to confirm, you can always open your console, your AWS console, and then visit that particular service. Okay, so I'm checking my S3 bucket if anyone exists. I think one should exist because I've created one with Terraform. Okay, so I have it here, S3 Roland 007. So you have to use a very unique name, because S3 bucket is a global service. So because it's global, it means the region which you're using it does not matter. I mean the names are there are many people using it around the world, and your name have to be unique, so your bucket does not become identical with someone else's bucket. So I just use something that I know is unique, S3 Roland. I put my name, I put some numbers, and I put S3 on it, so I know that my backend exists. And then you can toy around with all that. Okay, and that's all. This is my GitHub link where you can get all this code from and play around with it. But always make sure that you don't push these two files to your github.terraform. This file, this particular file, this one, they expose sensitive information in them, like all these hashes, all these providers, this Terraform lock. I think it exposes your AWS key. There's another one here. This Terraform state is not supposed to be on your GitHub. This particular one, see, your load balancer is here, someone else can have access to it. Every activity that happens is saved here, like Terraform states. So the next thing now is to clean up, because on AWS, if I leave all these resources running, my bill is going to pile up in some hours. So I have to clean up, and the best way to clean up is to run Terraform destroy. So Terraform destroy is just going to track down all the services that I have created and then destroy them. Okay, so to round up this video, we are going to run Terraform destroy auto approve. So after running Terraform destroy auto approve, your infrastructure will be destroyed, and everything that you once created will be lost and will be gone, and then you have to create it from afresh. So you have to always be careful. Anytime you're running Terraform destroy, be sure that you don't need those resources again, and you will never need them again. So I'm going to run this. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for subscribing and for liking. Feel free to comment any question you might have in the comment section. Thank you very much.